Alrighty, folks. I just wanted to create the second video, basically as kind of a rebuttal slash hashing out some of the points that I made in my previous video. But first, I wanted to say, like, I'm shocked at the response basically from that video, because a lot of my videos are kind of hit and miss as far as the viewership and everything. But I mean, just within a couple days, I mean, we're over 20,000 views, and that's a lot for a channel like mine, and all the new subscribers and stuff like that. So I appreciate it. Some things I wanted to go over, some things that I was wrong about, and just to kind of reiterate certain things that I didn't cover in my last video. Microsoft Office being free is the statement that I made in like previous versions of Windows. A lot of people, I was reading most of the comments and stuff as they were coming in over the last 12 to 15 hours or so. I was reading, and the majority of people are saying that Microsoft Office was never free. I did some research, and in fact, I was incorrect. Microsoft Office was never free. You did have to pay, although it was a one-time fee that you could pay. You could have it on the system and everything, and it would get updates and stuff like that. But it was just a one-time fee. Now they have, what is it, Microsoft? Let's pull this up. They have Microsoft 365 for Personal, which is a subscription for $100 a year, or you can pay about $10 a month, which would be even more, actually, if you paid by month. They have different tiers, but they also have Office Home 2024, which is a one-time purchase of $150 for one person, or for one PC and a Mac. It comes with 4 of the programs. It comes with Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and OneNote. But if you look here, like what separates Office 2024 from Microsoft 365 subscription, it tells you is that Office 2024 is sold as a one-time purchase, which means you pay a single upfront cost to get the Office apps, but there are no upgrades after that. So if you want upgrades, you have to pay again. Basically, the next time they update the program, you have to buy it again, or you could settle with the subscription. And that was kind of the big thing that I was hitting on, is just everything's become a subscription instead of just buying something and being able to use it for a long period of time and still getting updates and stuff for it. That was kind of the big thing that I was getting at. So yes, I'll be the first to admit when I was wrong. I was wrong about Microsoft like Office programs coming with the operating system. That was my assumption. I was incorrect. I apologize for that. Now, a lot of the comments and stuff people were saying is that they run some software that doesn't work on Linux, and they would never want to switch to Linux because of that. And that I completely understand, simply because of the fact that, like, there's very specific niche fields of work that have software that does not work on Linux, because Linux is just never needed to support such software, like CAD work, VR gaming, things of that nature. Some very niche types of software and things. Video editing, although Linux kind of has their own types of editors and everything. Like I had stated before, my last video, is that DaVinci does work on Linux. There are a few workarounds and everything you have to do to get it to work, but there are people that have got it to work on many different distros. The Adobe software doesn't work. There's no way to get it to work. But for those people that have to use a very specific type of software that does not work on Linux, you're kind of stuck with Windows, and and that's fine if that's simply what you're using the operating system for. Now, there were a lot of people that were much more knowledgeable about this than I, that were saying that there are plenty of workarounds as far as like getting rid of ads and all the notifications from like OneDrive, and how to set up local accounts and stuff like that. Actually, Chris Titus Tech, I think, is his name. He's actually either he wrote the script, or he found it. I can't remember exactly which, but I'll link his video down below of him actually coming up with the new workaround of getting able to set up local accounts on Windows 11 and not having to create a Windows 11 account. So shout out to Chris Titus Tech, I believe is his channel name. But I mean, my main contention is that you shouldn't have to fight with your operating system to be able to use it. That was kind of my main contention, is that it's like, well, Microsoft is shoving this all in your face. Yes, you shouldn't have to abandon ship just because of that, but you shouldn't also have to fight it. Be like, this is annoying and it's bugging me. I shouldn't have to be like, know all of these secret, back-end methods or whatever to block all this unnecessary stuff. It shouldn't be, honestly, in my opinion, it shouldn't be there in the first place. But, of course, everyone has to make money, and, corporations and such as Microsoft that have been around since, late 80s or something like that. I don't know exactly which. Of course, they have to make money, and they're self-interested, which, any major corporation that size should be. Not at the detriment of the consumer / their customers. It shouldn't be, from my perspective, they're basically just sitting up in their ivory tower going, well, you don't have any other choices, so you're just going to have to deal with it, sort of mentality. That's basically how I see it. But we do have options. You could obviously switch over to Mac if you choose, but that's a very closed ecosystem if you want to go that route. Or you can switch over to Linux, which is completely free and open source. And that's basically what I was getting at, is that we don't have to put up with that kind of stuff. There are other options, and it's best to vote with your wallet and to not give them that money and to not allow them to have access to your computer and be able to squeeze your data out of you and then sell it to people to then serve you ads. And one of the big things that I forgot to harp on in my last video is what does PC actually mean? The acronym PC. It means personal computer. You shouldn't have to worry about okay, I bought this brand new laptop or desktop or whatever, I'm going to bring it home, but yet Microsoft is still in your back pocket going, hold on, but I still need everything from you at all times. It's like, no, I bought this from you. It is mine. You should have no more interactions with this device except to update the operating system when it needs it, like security updates, new features, whatever. That's the only interaction you should have with the main corporation such as Microsoft. Just give me updates that I need. I don't need you in my back pocket or looking over my shoulder constantly, looking into my system or... I don't need all that. Basically, you shouldn't have to feel like Microsoft is letting you use your computer. You should be able to use it as in any way that you want and not have to feel like, what if Microsoft won't let me do that? You shouldn't have to worry about that. Microsoft should create the tool. It's basically they hand you a wrench, and what you do with the wrench is up to you. They shouldn't be like, it's not, no, you can't use it that way. Like, no, let me use it as I want. I bought it from you. You created the thing. I bought it from you. It is now mine. Let me do with it as I see fit. It's no longer yours. I purchased it from you. It is now mine. I will do with it as I see fit, whether that be right, wrong, or indifferent. And then one of the major things is data collection. Why do we always... It seems like nowadays, and that was kind of the main point of my title for that video, is that Windows is no longer a tool. It's not a tool to be used. It's you are now the tool.
Boom. Roasted.
You are now the product. It's because they are siphoning information from you of all they're tracking all your search history, your likes and your interactions and stuff on websites, the websites you go to, things that you download, this and that and everything. They may not look at your personal data like inside your files or anything, but they're tracking your movements and everything, and what websites you go to, how often, things you click on and things like that, and all the stuff that you interact with, and that's how they siphon data from you to then sell to advertisers to then serve you ads. But I'm sorry, I don't want to do business or use a tool that is linked to a company that behaves in such a way. But my basic point is that Linux does not do any of those things. They just let you, they build the whole tool for you to use and allow you to do with it as you see fit, so that you can download a lot of the distros come with very little built-in software to where you only download what you feel that you need. And then there's tons of commands and stuff out there. Hey, silly. There's tons of commands out there that you can issue to get a program to work or get a program downloaded as you need. And you basically create the operating system that you need. It's tailored fit to you to fit your needs. They don't collect any data. They don't serve you ads in the start menu or anywhere else in the operating system. They don't try to coerce you into downloading cloud-based storage service. They don't try to sell you any subscriptions or anything like that. It's just like, here's your operating system. Go nuts. Have fun. You know, download what you see, what you need. You know, it's like we're not here to shove anything in your face. It's just here's a tool for you to use. You know, enjoy. And that's basically the premise of Linux and everything, is that it's free and open source. It's yours to do with as you see. And it's a very useful tool. One of the other things I guess I forgot to mention, or maybe touched on very little, is that there are tons of open source alternatives to certain things. Like if you don't want to have to pay for Microsoft Office on Windows or whatever, you're just like, I just don't have the money, or I just don't feel right in giving them more money or anything like that. There are tons of other alternatives out there to where you don't have to spend money constantly on a subscription or like a big one-time payment or anything. And then I made a whole video about that, about unsubscribing your life and everything. So feel free to check out that video. But I hope that clears up a few more things. But I appreciate all the comments. I appreciate all the views and all the interactions and everything. Thank you all for watching. And remember, guys, there are options out there. Don't just sit by and comply. Take back control over your devices.